They said it couldn't be done, that the sport had changed, that the days of one man dominating the Tour de France were over. Too scientific, too tactical, too specialized. The golden era of legends such as Eddy Merckx, Bernard Hinault and Miguel Indurain was behind us, or so we thought. Then came the Slovenian Tadej Pogačar. Not since the days of the cannibal himself has one rider bent the Tour de France to his will quite like this. But it's not just the victories that make Pogačar different, it's the manner in which he wins. He rides with a mix of elegance and cruelty, cracking the world's best climbers while smiling for the cameras. He attacks when logic says wait, breaks records that were supposedly untouchable, and seems to carry the weight of history as if it's made of feathers. From the moment he stole the yellow jersey on the final time trial in 2020 on La Planche de Belfi, a day that felt like it belonged to fiction, Pogačar has turned cycling's biggest race into his personal stage. And now, 5 years into his Tour de France, we're beginning to realize something few dared to believe. He might not just be a generational talent, he might be the greatest Tour de France rider of all time in the making. This is the story of what he's already done, what he's about to do, and the impossible records that could soon belong to Pogačar himself. Quick pause because I've got something genuinely useful to share, especially if you're like me, constantly on the move or diving deep into your hobbies as well. I've recently been using Readly. It's basically a digital magazine app that gives you unlimited access to over 8,000 magazines and newspapers. And here's the best part. I can finally read Cycling Weekly, Pro Cycling, and even the National Geographic Traveler all in one place from my phone. Whether I'm offline on a train or doing tedious Zone 2 rides on the Turbo Trainer, Readly's offline reading and bookmarking features are also a game changer. I just tap and save and come back later to where I was. And here's the cool bit as well. You can get 2 months free by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. No strings attached, cancel anytime. Trust me, if you're into cycling, travel, food, or just want something to scroll through without doom scrolling, Readly's got your back here. Anyways, back to the video. From the moment he arrived at the Tour de France scene, Pogačar was different. In 2020, barely out of his teens, he won the race in a fashion no one saw coming, stealing the yellow jersey from his countryman and more seasoned pro Primož Roglič in a time trial that shattered expectations and reshaped the sport's future with not even having his power meter on, won the Tour de France on debut and was the first rider to do so since Laurent Fignon back in 1983, plus taking the white jersey and polka dot jersey and even winning 3 stages along the way. A year later, he returned and dismantled the race, completely winning not just the overall but the polka dot jersey and white jersey yet again, all while riding with the audacity of someone who knew exactly how good he was and didn't feel the need to hide it. Over the next few years, his legend only grew. He won more stages, collected more jerseys, and even in defeat, as he was in 2022 and 2023, he still managed to win stages. He fought with such ferocity and brilliance that his stature somehow increased. And by 2024, he was back on top, becoming only the 3rd man in history to win the Triple Crown, and all this before the age of 26. The numbers are already staggering, but they might only be the beginning. When Pogačar won his first Tour de France title back in 2020, he became the youngest winner in over a century. The only rider who was younger than him was Henri Cornet, who won a chaotic and discredited 1904 edition after multiple riders were disqualified. But unlike Cornet, whose name lingers as a historical footnote, Pogačar turned that youth into fuel. Pogačar is also the youngest 2-time winner of the Tour de France, and he's bidding to be the youngest 4-time winner of the Tour de France as well if he wins this year. In just a few years, he turned the white jersey into his own personal trophy as well. From 2020 through to 2023, he won every single year, 4 in a row, more than any other rider in history, like riders such as Jan Ullrich and Andy Schleck, because he started younger than them. But Pogačar has left them for dust in the all-time white jersey, and maybe we'll never see that white jersey record broken. These aren't minor statistics. They are once in a generational accomplishments, the kind of milestones that usually belong to riders at the end of their careers. For Pogačar, they're not just the starting point, they are what he's building on. It's not just enough that he has already broken records, he has set the fastest time on many climbs in the Tour as well. What's even more remarkable is how many more he's closing in on. Records long thought untouchable, guarded by names such as Eddy Merckx and Bernard Hinault. But if you compare what those legends had accomplished by the age of 26, you start to see how far ahead Pogačar truly is. Take stage wins, for example. Before the 2025 Tour de France started, Pogačar had already won 17 victories to his name, and so far in the 2025 Tour, he has 2 more, taking it up to 19. That's more than Bernard Hinault had at the same age, more than Alberto Contador and Chris Froome have in total. Cavendish is one he finds himself on a similar level at around the same age, but Cavendish also has the all-time record. Cavendish 35 Tour de France wins will be hard to match. It's not out of the question. Cavendish had 6 years without winning stages in total, but did also go all the way to being 39 years old as well in the Tour de France. So will Pogačar do that if it comes close? Pogačar's wins. Pogačar has an array of different terrains he's won in, from time trials in varied terrain to the high mountains and even punchy uphill sprints as well. There's no terrain that seems to resist him. If he continues to average 2 or 3 stage wins per tour, or even 6 like he did in 2024, he could even approach that record before he turns 30. And then there's the yellow jersey, the iconic yellow jersey worn by the race leader. And as of now, Pogačar has won, as we know, 3 Tour de France's, but he's worn the jersey for a total of 44 days. That's more than most Tour de France winners manage in their entire career, and within the top 6 of all time already. The record belongs to, right now, Eddy Merckx with 96 days, but Merckx last raced the Tour de France 7 times. Pogačar is still only on his 6th Tour de France. At this rate, if he continues to contend for the overall in each edition he starts, and history suggests he will, he's on pace to rival or even surpass that number before his career is done, and maybe we can see 100 being the number. But the most sacred of all records in Tour de France history is, of course, the victories themselves. No one has won more than 5 in the record books officially now. Sorry, Lance. And the record is jointly held by Merckx, Bernard Hinault, Jacques Anquetil and Miguel Indurain. And yet, when you compare their trajectory to Pogačar's, the gap is shrinking. At the age of 26, Merckx had 2 wins. Pogačar has 3 right now. Hinault had only 1. Indurain, incredibly, none. And even Armstrong, whose 7 titles have been stripped, didn't win his first Tour de France until he was 27. Pogačar is ahead of all of them. If he wins the 2025 Tour de France, he'll be the youngest rider since 1950s to take home 4 yellow jerseys, and with the form he's showing, a 5th or 6th doesn't feel out of the question. Not if, but more when. That 6th title that no other rider has achieved is suddenly no longer out of reach. It's on the horizon. So what if he keeps this up? What if the crashes stay away, the motivation burns bright, and the hunger never fades? By 2026, he could win his 5th Tour de France and add another handful of stage wins, and in 2027 he might surpass Merckx, Hinault and Indurain with 6 wins and still not 30. 1 year later he could stand alone with 7 victories and maybe even edge towards 75 or even 80 days in the yellow jersey. If the stars align and the legs remain kind, he could very well be closing in on an 8th or 9th title before he turns 32. Even now it sounds outlandish, but then again, everything about Pogačar has been outlandish to this day. He flipped the Tour, and maybe he will even be breaking the Mark Cavendish record by 2030. There are riders who win the Tour de France. There are riders who define an era, and then there are once in a lifetime talents that are riders who transcend the sport entirely, who make the greatest races in cycling feel like their personal story unfolding in real time. Pogačar is writing that story now. He's not just collecting yellow jerseys, he's rewriting what it means to be a champion in the sport. He rides with courage and flair that evokes the past, and yet his numbers and achievements suggest something entirely new. A rider from a different mold. The impossible records are no longer impossible. They're right there for the taking, just a few years away, waiting for him to take them. And the scariest part, he's not even 27. Anyways, with that, that's basically it for this video. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And why not check out more Redley as well in the pinned comment. But why not check out the scary truth about Tadej Pogačar, or the rivals that thought they got one up on him and he returned the favor. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I will see you around.